gone away. When you're not around, I feel amazed.
Michael Brown, that was an Akata. His daddy is an Akata. And it's a shame, because his dad, so he was just like destined. I always said any celebratory Come Guzzler Harris by these mammies is all fake and phony. Because if any of these mammies supported that whore.
Nation, one nation, but joy cometh
in the morning. Come on, Joe!
We will get through this.
We gonna get through this together, y'all.
Together.
Ooh, Joe, we gonna get through this together. Oh yeah. No, y'all ain't even considered. Y'all ain't even in the vote.
What's up, Patriots? It's time to cut through the, well, you know.
What's up, everyone? Axel here of Axetruth.com, and this is the Axetruth channel. Hello, YouTube, and I'm back. Well, if you click, before I even get into this, all video, sound, and music used during this broadcast falls under fair use. Fair use is allowed for the purpose of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe on copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. And the beat goes on. Black Lives Matter, BLM, a complete abysmal failure for black people. Everyone, if you're wondering, I was in YouTube jail for another 2 weeks for a video in which they accused me of doing misinformation towards health, and I wasn't even talking about health in the video, or I guess using misinformation towards, I guess, the CDC and the WHO or something like that. But they just, they're looking to give me a strike on this channel. So there's a link below for my new YouTube channel. Just go over there. Click on that link. It's called Axetruth. One word as opposed to two words. Anyway, let's get into this. BLM, Black Lives Matter, has been nothing but an abysmal failure for blacks. And it's sad that they don't even get how they're being used by the white liberal. The white hunky liberal here has realize that they can use black people and black emotion and drum up fake racism claims, because every interaction with a black and a white person has to do with race and racism. It's all racism, and it's the white person that is the racist, no matter what context or whatever it's about. If the skin color is different and the person is white, it is racism. And the white liberals said, well, we're going to, they have created a slogan, a Soros hashtag, Black Lives Matter, that was started, I think, right after the Travon Martin thing. And it was all, Black Lives Matter was created because Obama, the first black president, didn't do anything for black people. In fact, economic conditions for black Americans were the worst ever in this country's history under the black president. Abysmal called that out. And when he called that out, they took him off the air. But it was a true statement. And because when you say truth, it's for some reason, truth, it's treason in an empire of lies. You can get that shirt at shop.axetruth.com. Shameless plug there. My question is to, those that are left, the plantationites that are still left over there on the plantation falling for this madness. Black Lives Matter raised a whole lot of money. And all the black people got was this. This is what you got to see for Black Lives Matter. You got to see a bunch of angry black women's and a few black men. You can look in there, you see probably, and I'm pretty sure that the men that are in the picture are alphabets. But you have the black women's, and then you have the rainbow. You see? and to see more women. Um, and it was on the backs of the whole Black Lives Matter movement was on the backs of the death of a black man. The majority of it, they threw Sandra Bland up in there, but nevertheless, Black Lives Matter, the hashtag, was really drummed up, and it went corporate. It went corporate. It went international. It went global, and all the corporations were in on it, and all the pretty much almost all the corporations, and then you got into sports, and all the athletes were in on it. All the major sports organizations, and all of them funneled money to Black Lives Matter. And all black people got was a bunch of marching in the streets, yelling and signs and fists in the air. And then after that, this Black Lives Matter really went into like hyperdrive after the George Floyd. George Floyd is what kicked it all off into this thing that you heard about every day. You heard this screaming and yelling and Black Lives Matter and Black Lives Matter and Black Lives Matter and blackety black 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 black. It's been black season since George Floyd. But since black season started, there has been more black deaths than ever in history. In the year of George Floyd 2020, and then in 2021, it escalated even more black deaths, more black lives lost, but them black lives were lost at the hands of other black people. So black lives don't matter when it's black people. So we had more deaths ever in history from other black people to black lives, and black lives that were lost throughout all this. And black people got nothing, and they raised in the billions of dollars under Black Lives Matter, and none of it, not one drop, one penny, went to the Black CommuniTAY. I find this just fascinating, how black people are sitting here, as much as they complain about white supremacy, and under the system of white supremacy and oppression, that they just let that just go. You have this Black Lives Matter hashtag, you got Black Lives Matter face mask, you got Black Lives Matter crap everywhere. But yet, what came of it? What did you get? What came out of that? It's really sad. It's pathetic. All right. Let me just go read here. All right, here we go. I'm reading from Spiked. Black Lives Matter missing billions. The Black Lives Matter movement has raised billions of dollars over the past several years, but no one seems to know where the money has been spent. On December 20th, 2020, The Economist noted that $10.6 billion have been pledged to causes and organizations affiliated with BLM. According to that article and further reporting from the right-leaning Daily Signal, BLM, I don't know what left and right has to do with this. I really don't. I'm reading this. I don't know what that has to do with the money. See, it ain't no right people went in there and got the money. This is a leftist thing. It's a white liberal thing. It's white liberal using blackface. See, this whole blackface thing, that's what Black Lives Matter is. White liberal is using blackface, using black causes and black emotion to push their issues. So, and raise money. So they can use that money to also fund candidates for the Democratic Party and all other sorts of things. Like getting people to help out in the elections to make sure they go a certain way. We know how that goes. I don't want to say too much. To play for people to work the elections. You have to pay people to work this stuff. People are not going to do anything for free. So where do you think the money went? But they can't account for it. $10.6 billion has been pledged to the causes and organizations affiliated with BLM. According to that article, further reporting from the right-leaning Daily Signal, BLM corporate donors include Amazon, Gatorade, Microsoft, 23andMe, Tinder, While recipients range from small scale Unicorn Riot guerrilla media firm to the sizable Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. See, he was global. As far as I can tell, no comprehensive or even partial audit of what happened to the staggering sums of money that has been taking place. Indeed, given the sheer number of corporate and NGO players involved, conducting one conducting one would be incredibly difficult. However, taking a look at the experience of just one BLM affiliated organization, BLM GNF, that's Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation, could give us the insight on what went on broadly. The foundation story is truly remarkable. The GNF received more than $90 million in 2020, the year George Floyd was killed. According to the New York Post, by the end of 2020, the group had approximately $60 million after spending $8.4 million on undefined expenses and costs. Undefined expenses and costs. That can be anything. Money laundering right here in your face. Okay, and costs. And committing 21.7 million to local chapters. This is where the picture gets complicated. A group of 10 Black Lives Matter chapters, known as BLM number 10, which includes organizations sizable of New Jersey and Hudson Valley branches, publicly criticized BLM GNF in November of 2020 over financial transparency, decision making, and accountability. To the best of our knowledge, a spokesperson for BLM 10 stated that in an open letter, most of the chapters have received little to no financial support from BLM GNF since the launch in 2013. The 2020 Impact Report for Black Lives Matter, which covers BLM GNF and BLM PAC and BLM Grassroots, does mention funding giving to local chapters, but it only lists 11 chapters as recipients of the funding out of dozens of them. Interestingly, that BLM Impact reports listed far more transgender advocacy organizations as its recipients than organizations promoting black civil rights. I'm going to read that once again. BLM Impact Reports lists far more transgender advocacy organizations as its recipients than organizations prompting black civil rights. Whoa. Okay. This is their shit. This is what y'all get. Because you went from anything that has to do with black civil rights or anything about equality to transgenderism. Okay. Okay. The list of organizations in which BLM GNF pledged at least six-figure grants, including TransUnited, the Audre Lorde Project, Trans Justice, Black Trans Circles, the Transgender District, the Black Trans Travel Fund, the Okra Project, okra like in the vegetable, I don't know what the hell that is, for the Growls, and the Trans Justice Funding Project, and the Trans Housing Coalition, Homeless Black Trans Women Fund, and Black Trans Media, and Black Trans Films and the Arts. What do? They sit around and just make these things up and say, okay, we're going to put some money over here for this. It's for trans, but it ain't really going to trans. Because I don't know any black trans that got any money out of this. I got black trans friends. I don't know any black trans organizations or anything that got any money from this. This is all lies. They just made up a name and said, okay, this is for this, but that's money going in your pocket. I can see straight through this shit. Questions also have been raised about what is going on at the top of BLM GNF. The organization appears to have had a chief executive for almost a year now, according to the Washington Examiner. Former CEO Patrice Cullors, you remember her, stepped down in May of 2021 following criticism of her personal finances. However, Two respected activists whom she appointed to lead the organization after she resigned never actually took office because of disagreements with BLM. This appears to be to have only been made public last September, while BLM GNF has now opted to suspend its online fundraising operations. Tens of millions of dollars were almost certainly raised during a period when the organization had no upper leadership team. And then there was the houses. One of them, one of the main reasons Color stepped down is due to the controversy over her real estate buying binge, during which she purchased four homes valued at $3.2 million. Colors signed off on the deeds for a house in Inglewood, California, worth $510, $510,000, a custom ranch property located in rural Georgia, and which was equipped with an airplane runway, and a 1.4 million mansion in the ritzy Topanga Canyon, a short drive from Malibu, California. You think that all of this might make more people want to know what happened to the billions pledged to BLM, or the millions given to BLM GNF specifically, yet most media outlets have not raised any questions at all. This seems to me to be a product of soft bigotry of low expectations that is becoming increasingly prevalent with the woke left. For me, this is why asking questions about missing money is so important. It's not because some would have it. I hate black people or want to make women of color look bad. The left's bigotry of low expectation is just is just as racist as anything you can find on the hard fringes of the right. It must be opposed. A remarkable recent study showed that the soft bigotry of low expectations in action, according to Washington Post. The study found that white liberals dumb down their language when they talk to black people. We know this. Losing multiple grade levels of words and complexity. Surely the same sort of quiet contempt combined with an equally unspoken fear of false allegations of racism explains the widespread reluctance to ask questions of Black Lives Matter finances. One more than suspects that it is similar amounts of money has been raised by, and say, the Tea Party, and there were more than a few questions about how it was spent, and then a lot of strangely dressed patriots would be in deep trouble right now. The sort of double standard is no good for black people. Besides, it would be difficult, speaking frankly, to think a single positive change in America's American black community, which has resulted from the Black Lives Matter movement. A few studies have found that cities where BLM marches took place in the past several years witnessed slight reductions in police homicides. However, the same communities endured a sharp rise in regular murders in the wake of reduced police activity, largely as a result of police forces retreating, and there were more than 4,000 homicides in the U.S. in 2020 compared to 2019. More than 4,000 homicides in 2020 than in 2019, with homicides surpassing 20,000 for the first time since 1995. Even for those who support the center goals of BLM, it should be obvious that giving up money when it's either not clear how it's being spent or spent on largely tangible causes does no good for communities of color. Here's a tip: if and when you give to a black charity, don't be racist enough to assume it's normal for the organization to have problems like those of BLM and currently embroiled in. You should treat it like any other charitable donation and make sure the organization has spent finances to a definite address and CEO. Far more deserving causes do exist. It's very sad. I'm gonna put the link to this article in this video, but put your comments below and let me know what you think about this. Just like I started out, I said, all black people got out of Black Lives Matter was a bunch of yelling and marching in the street with their fists in the air and kneeling and a bunch of platitudes by sports arenas and playing of the Negro National Anthem and dumb shit like that. A bunch of symbolism. A bunch of symbolism and slogans, marching and yelling. And then you have there's the same black leaders over on the Democrat plantation telling them we're just going to keep marching. Michelle Obama even said, we're going to keep marching. Keep marching for what? What are you marching for? What is all that walking and yelling in the streets about? It's so disgusting to see, to know that this Black Lives Matter and Blackety Black season has been going on since 2020, and they're trying to brew it back up again. The nerve of them. The nerve that they're going to try this Black Lives Matter crap, when in fact lives matter. If you got to put a color in front of it, something's wrong with you. Black Lives Matter never mattered. It was just used. It was used. Black Lives Matter was blackface for white liberal causes, blackface for the Democrat National Committee to raise money in blackface. And now that people are seeking accountability of where did all that money go, now they're just saying, well, it's a black organization, it's a black charity, and of course, they can just lose money and mistrack money, That's not looking to it because, it's black, they really can't manage funds. It's basically, that's what they're saying, the soft bigotry of low expectation. My dog wants to get out the room. So, the soft bigotry of low expectations. Here we are. Put your comments below and subscribe to my new channel, Axetruth. The link is below. And I'll be back with my next video. Hope you like the content here. You can see all my content unfiltered, and my live shows will be done on Rumble. And Rumble, the link is also below to subscribe to Axetruth on Rumble, where you can speak freely and not be targeted because you're just that good. Put your comments below. Share my video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you soon.
The one world government, you can't make war with that. Why? There's no government to go against it. It consumes the world, but not God's elect. This is where you got to understand, and this is why you got to have strong faith, is to know as long as God is with you, who can be against you? Nobody. As long as you are armed with the sword of the Lord, the truth, and you understand what's happening in the world, God protects you. You and He make a majority, and you can count on that. You can believe it.